Hey y'all, welcome to today's edition of Full Disclosure, Navigating Your Career as a Person Who Stutters. My name is Carl and I'm really excited to be talking to you guys today about the topic, and let's just get right into it. No need to waste time. So this topic came to mind because of a LinkedIn post I made a few days ago about certain soft skills and why soft skills, when it comes to influencing and impacting your career, are incredibly important, and I think more so than some technical skills, certifications, or even degrees sometimes. These are those intangible but impactful skills that you need in order to find success and advance in your career. And that's things like time management, creative thinking, conflict resolution, teamwork. And I would argue, and this is a hill I'm willing to stand on top of and defend, networking. Whether you like it or not, networking is a great way, and I'd argue as an essential way, to ensure that you're able to advance in your career, become eligible for promotions, and just build a support system that will help you accomplish your career goals in times of good and bad. And I say bad because sometimes our careers are going great. We're rocking it. We're getting praise and uh, notice and appreciation from our bosses and our managers and our leaders. But sometimes you might face a layoff, like I have twice this year, or you may be fired, or just something happens to where you find yourself out of work and you need to find another type of employment quickly. Having a strong network who knows who you are, who knows the value of your work, who knows your ability as a worker, and who can attest to you and vouch for you to future employers or companies. Having this network that you can leverage and engage is incredibly important. It's something I think everyone should have. I'm going to share some tips for you today on how to build and establish a strong network that you can leverage throughout your career. So, networking sometimes gets a bad rap, and I think a lot of this is to do with the fact that when people think of networking, they think of in person events where you are in a huge conference room or ballroom with people, a lot of talking, and you basically have to go up to people and sell yourself. And while that may have been how networking worked for a long time, I'd argue, because I'm doing a lot of arguing today. I don't mean to argue. I just mean to say, I think that now, because of the advancement of technology and also because of the pandemic, a lot of networking takes place virtually, whether it's online events over Zoom or on LinkedIn or various other methods. It's a lot easier and maybe more comfortable for some people to take part in that. So I'm going to give you 3 tips. I was trying to think of the number. I'm going to give you 3 tips on how to start networking in a way that feels natural, in a way that you can easily do. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to show you how I had to use and leverage my network in a time when I really needed it. So here's the first tip. First tip to keep in mind is that no one is thinking about you. And for me, that takes a lot of pressure off, to know that I am not the sole focus of something. When it comes to networking, some people are naturally more gifted at building and establishing relationships than others. But for me, it helps to know that everyone is going into it in their own heads, thinking about themselves, and wanting to make sure that they're making a good impression, that the focus is not going to be spotlighted on me and what I'm doing or not doing. And so that gives me a little bit of calmness to go into these situations and to just take some of that pressure and strain off of myself to know that I don't have to be perfect. I just have to show up and just do it and just get better with time the more that I do it. The second tip I'd recommend is to go into it with a strategy in mind or goal in mind. Your goal might be as simple as I want to practice saying my name and introducing myself to people. I think that's a great goal. And if that is your goal, you should practice going up to people, or if it's in a virtual setting, introducing yourself, taking yourself off mute and saying, hey, my name is blank. And just becoming more comfortable with that. As I mentioned in the first tip, the more you do it, the more you overcome those obstacles that you may have had, the more that you build that confidence in yourself. If you want to have another strategy, if you're looking to break into a particular company, say you want to work for Meta and you're at a networking event where you know that there's going to be people who work for Meta or recruiters, you might have that be the main goal to say, hey, I want to talk to 3 Meta employees and figure out what their journey was like, how they got their foot in the door, what their career trajectory has been, and maybe how does that mirror what I'm doing and where I want to go. So, whatever your goal is, I definitely think you need to go into it with a clear goal, or else it can be overwhelming. It can be very overwhelming just being at an event where you just don't really have any direction of what you want to accomplish. So, I definitely would recommend having a set goal in mind and trying your best to get towards that goal however you can. The third tip is something that I learned a few years ago from one of my managers, and that is keeping a regular and recurring file or document of things that you're accomplishing at work. It can be really easy for us to forget the impact that we make, or when it comes time to do annual reviews, if your company does annual reviews, you're scrambling your brain trying to think, okay, who did I work with on what projects and how successful was I at them? Keeping a regular track of what you're doing and how well you're doing it will help you not only when you're networking, but also in annual reviews, and also when you have to revise and polish your resume and you're looking for those really crisp accomplishments to put in bullet points. That'll help you do that as well. So definitely, if you haven't started or don't know how to, start tracking your accomplishments. Okay, as I mentioned, I'm going to show you a post that I made on LinkedIn a few months ago when I found out that I was getting laid off from my job. And this post, it went huge. And I could not have foreseen the response it would get, but it got me a lot of interest from recruiters, a lot of words of support when I needed it the most. And I heard from colleagues that I had not talked to or worked with in maybe a decade who saw my post, who knew about my impact and my work ethic, and who really, as a result of me building a network, came to my support when I needed it the most. So here's that post, and here's kind of the success that it helped me to raise. So here's the post on LinkedIn that I made 4 months ago, right after finding out that I was laid off for the second time this year. And, I wanted to make it so that it wasn't like everyone else's, hey, I'm looking for a new opportunity. Please let me know if you find anything. Thanks. I'd like to make a more candid or more fun, whatever the case may be. So I wanted to make it like it was in my voice, not like everyone else's post. So, I've set out some background and just saying, I found out that I got laid off for a second time this year. It sucks. Yes, I internalized it, but I decided to get real and just get to work. So I made a formal job announcement that I'm back on the market. I gave people a little bit of background about me, which I think this was really helpful context to show what my strengths are, what my background is. It's in healthcare, financial services, and retail.
I'm certified in these process improvement and agile methodologies, and here's some extra information about me. And then I led people to what I think they could do to help me. Like and share and engage, keep me in mind for any specific roles. And then if we'd work together, I'd ask that they would leave a recommendation. On LinkedIn, there's an option to leave a recommendation if you've worked with the person before. You can say where you worked with them previously and in what capacity. And that is a real big help when recruiters are coming to your profile. Then, because of who I am, I put a GIF because GIFs are awesome and I love them. And I figured that this would help to get people's eyes on my posts because it had something, some media thing going on. And that was kind of how I felt. Like that scene in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where Will's dad leaves and he gets really sad. And the response was incredible. I've never gotten close to this amount of engagement on LinkedIn. You'll see here almost 8,000 reactions, 538 comments, 486 reposts. Most of these were people that I've never met before that just happened to come across my posts through one of their connections. And so that increased the spread and the way that my post was able to travel. This was the most powerful thing to me. Over 500,000 impressions. So what that means is people who clicked on my post and stayed on it within, or I think for a specific amount of time, like 10 seconds or something. So that many eyes, over 500,000 eyes on my post was tremendous. It got me so many people reaching out for coffee chats to talk to me, and also people sending me jobs to say, hey, this looks like it might fit, or my company is hiring for this role, take a look. So if you ever think that networking doesn't work, I definitely am here to tell you it does. It works in the good times and especially in the bad times too.
All right, so that's it. Thank y'all for tuning in today. Just to recap, those 3 tips that I gave for networking and just kind of getting yourself used to it. The first one is remembering that nobody is thinking about you. So allow that to take some of the pressure and some of the stress and anxiety off of yourself that you may be feeling. The second is to go into a networking event with a goal or a strategy in mind so that you can have a clear focus on what you want to accomplish. And that third tip is going to be something that you can leverage, not just networking, but helping you to remember and quantify your impact and success. And that's going to be to keep a recurring list of all of the things that you accomplish at work, all of the projects you lead. Keep metrics on this if at all possible. So, what was the budget of the project? How many hours did you decrease in a process that you improved? Anything that you can do that will show the impact that is quantifiable is going to make that even better. So that's it for today. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. And as always, y'all take care and stay safe. Bye.